Hello everyone, and welcome to Biopedia. This week, we're going to introduce the subject of bonsai. Bonsai trees are miniature trees between 5 to 7 and 120 centimetres tall, which are created artificially. The descendants of such bonsai trees would not naturally be miniature. The practice of creating bonsai trees originated in China and may be over a millennium old, and is first recorded in Japan in 1309. A 1954 paper documents the transfer of some bonsai trees from Japan to the United States by Lars Anderson, the US ambassador to Japan from 1912 to 1913. After their arrival in the US, Anderson grew the bonsai trees in his home in Brookline. His wife later donated the trees to the Arnold Arboretum in 1937. Now, the idea behind the bonsai tree comes from nature. Trees growing in adverse mounting conditions are naturally stunted and gnarly, scraping by due to limited nutrients. You might think that this lends itself well to the practice. However, such trees often don't survive being extracted for use due to the difference between their natural and cultured conditions. The way to get round this issue is to repeatedly cut back a section of the plant with gaps of a year in between, until the plant can be successfully transplanted. These tough plants are, often as not, the plants used in Japan for this process. With regard to the process itself, trees and bushes are made miniature by pruning their roots and branches, as well as tying branches together using wire. A plant is grown from a seed in a restricted pot and the taproot is cut back. This also goes for the central leader, which refers to the primary branch of the tree formed directly from the stem, where applicable. Some branches grow normally while others are not allowed to. Its pot needs to be limited in size, and the bonsai needs to be moved into a different pot after an interval of years to take a proportion of the roots off in order to keep the tree small. The interval of time is related to how much the roots have grown and what species of tree it is. In addition, nourishment is also added in at this point, because the size of the pot means there is normally insufficient soil for new roots to form without it. Another way to stunt the tree's growth is to coil its stem around a crooked column and leave it in place for a while, given that this often breaks a lot of vascular tissue. This is done to make the tree appear windswept and can be carried out for the branches as well. Bending a younger tree's trunk and limiting how much the roots and shoots can grow can make it appear old, as otherwise frequently between 5 and 10 decades are needed to end up with a respectable bonsai tree. Their appearance is frequently governed by aesthetic desires. For example, a reduction in size of features such as foliage is preferred for visual purposes, while an old appearance, and visible portions of the root system which look weather-beaten, is sought after in Japanese bonsai. Due to their limited root network and the fact that their pots aren't very large, bonsai trees have to be kept in the shade, as they cannot afford to lose a lot of water by means of transpiration. In addition, they are vulnerable to winter conditions because they do not have the necessary root system to keep the portion of the tree below ground warm. However, bonsai trees can live for a very long time, ultimately being passed down the generations. In fact, one of the trees on display in the Boston Spring Flower Show, featuring specimens from the Arnold Arboretum mentioned earlier, was 217 years old. Now, no date is given in the 1954 paper which mentions this exhibition, but I'm led to believe by the way it is written about that the show was around at the time of writing, hence also in 1954. As a final point for today, bonsai could be used in conservation and to rescue species from extinction. A lot of species worldwide are in danger of going extinct, and different phenomena, whether artificial or not, are working together to make ecosystems more precarious. In Nepal, which was the area of focus for the 2009 paper we're discussing, over 37% of plants not found elsewhere are either endangered, threatened, or rare, and most such restricted species will go extinct if the current situation continues. This would mean that a simplified and fragile ecosystem would be left behind. However, there are species suitable for cultivating as a bonsai, Bonsai trees can act as a genetic reservoir for their species, with seedlings able to be created as and when required. That's it for today. As always, thank you for listening. For any questions, comments, or topic suggestions for future episodes, feel free to get in touch at the show's email address. Until next time, have a great week, everyone.